and I am the founder of Life Wizards Academy. It actually started because of my child. I have a son who was diagnosed with sensory processing disorder when he was only 5 years old. Basically means that his brain doesn't know, it affects the way his brain interprets his senses. And through this, this disorder created a wealth of anxiety for him and for all of us. So a simple task like putting on his shoes and socks would create a sense of pain for him. This would mean that he would end up missing school because he couldn't put on his shoes and socks and all that stuff. So what I realized in those moments is that it was actually the emotional side of things where he was really struggling. And no matter what I said or did, how I responded to the situation, it never helped him. And I realized in that moment that he was really struggling with his feelings, and he didn't know how to handle the situation. And no matter what I did, I couldn't be in his head. So there was a definite need for him to learn these life skills that we weren't being taught in our lives, in school, at home. And so I saw this opportunity to create something that would help him. And we also need to build empathy for each other. And I think that that's the power of these cards. So Life Wizards Power cards are designed in a fun and engaging way that almost feels like the kids are playing a game. So each card has got an emotion. There's about 18 cards in the pack, and they're all double-sided. On the one side is a negative emotion, and on the other side is a positive emotion. On the negative emotion side, it outlines the steps for children to take in order to learn how to deal with that specific feeling. And when they get to the end of those steps, they can flip the card over, and then it shows them how to embrace the positive feeling. And this encourages things like positive self-talk, it starts to build up their awareness of themselves, and it really empowers them to know that they're not their feelings, to shift from that negative feeling to a positive one. My hope in doing this work is that they actually, those stats start to come down, that kids can reach a level of confidence and authenticity and high self-esteem that they're able to live their best life and have a happy childhood, grow up to be amazing adults. So look, this is my passion. I think I'm scared I'm going to forget my words and all of that, but I really believe in what I'm doing, and I really believe that I can make the change, so I'm just going to go in and give it my all. Good morning.
Hi.
Morning. A child in charge of their emotions is a child empowered. Thank you so much for having me here today. Hi, I'm Lauren, and I'm a children's life coach, and I'm a mom of 2 boys. I'm also the founder of Life Wizards Academy and the creator of Life Wizards Power Cards, which you have next to you on your tables. I founded Life Wizards Academy and created Life Wizards Power Cards out of my own challenges as a parent and to help combat a big problem that we have in the world today. When my son was 4 years old, he was diagnosed with SPD, a condition that affects the way that his brain interprets his senses. And this led to a wealth of anxiety and emotional challenges for him and for all of us. I spent many nights researching, coming up with solutions. We had him in therapy, and even through therapy, the daily challenges continued. And with that, left us feeling helpless, lost, and out of pocket. And one night during one of my researching episodes, I came across some mental health stats that startled me. So many children under the age of 12 were suffering with anxiety, early childhood depression, and some were even taking their own lives. I was shocked. And the mere thought that my son could be one of those stats scared me to death. And so I knew in that moment that I had to stop at nothing to help him and all the other kids. And so here I am today. These are my 2 kids, but they don't always look like this. In fact, sometimes they look more like this, which leads me to the problem. How we think, feel, and act has everything to do with our mental and emotional well-being. No matter where you come from, your age, your race, your gender, your religion, your culture, emotions don't discriminate. We all have feelings. But the problem is, we're not taught on how to deal with these feelings, leading to these mental health problems. In Malta alone, 1 in 2 children suffer with anxiety, leading to mental health disorders and putting them at risk. And we're limited with help. The other issue is that in schools, our educators are expected to deliver a curriculum that doesn't always include these social and emotional skills. At home, our parents, in a post-COVID world especially, are emotionally incapacitated and mentally stuck. So how do they help themselves, let alone their kids? And therapy is not always an option. Not everyone has access to it, and not everyone can afford it. So where will the kids get the help that they need? I have the solution. Life Wizard's Power in Your Pocket app. Let's meet them in a digital space and give them the power in their pockets and at their fingertips. While our kids are spending so much of their time in their devices, let's use this space to offer them something that is educational, that allows them to strengthen their emotional intelligence and helps them to improve their mental and emotional well-being. This app sets out to help kids and their grown-ups learn how to build their emotional muscle and to gain the skills so that they can navigate their world, closing that emotional skills gap between the generations and helping them become emotionally fit for their future. Just about all human behavior is learned, and kids love to reenact what they see, especially if it makes them feel good. Feeling anxious? This is not just an app. It's not just a game. This is a powerful pocket companion that can aid kids immediately with support anytime they need, especially when they are faced with big emotions and challenges that can be seemingly tricky. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for a very good presentation to start with, and an incredibly important topic. When it comes to the app itself, what's your plan, so to say? Have you an experience of developing apps? How will you approach it? Who will do it? Can you tell us a little bit about that side of it?
Sure. So I myself am not an app developer, but I do have a lot of connections that I have been working with to build this app. So yes, I have identified a team of people that will be able to build the app, and we've come up with some ideas of how it will work.
As a parent and as a mother, my first thought is, okay, I want to get my child away from devices, okay? So now the cards I get, and it's really nice, it could work, it's fine, it's a bit more interactive. But an app in your pocket is not as interactive. So how do you try to convince me as a mom and someone who, for example, does a lot of meditation? I do meditation with my son, okay? That's how I help him deal with his anxiety, to get to know himself, to be grounded and be centered. I would prefer to do that as a parent. I know many parents don't do it, but I would prefer to have an interaction where I can help my son be grounded as an individual, so that in return, he's able to cope with emotions and other things. For parents who don't believe in devices, which are many of us, and who don't want our kids on an app, how do you convince them?
Right, so thank you, that's a really good question. And the reason that I started with the cards is for that exact reason, this need to try and get our kids out of their devices. So it is a little bit ironic that now I'm going back into that direction, but I'll tell you why. So the first thing is that kids aren't with us all the time as parents. They go to parties, they're at school, they play at friends' houses, so we're not with them all the time and we're not always at their aid. Now, the likelihood of them carrying a pack of cards with them in their pockets to help them in those moments, they're more inclined to have their devices with them. And so, let's say, for example, there's a child at a party who's feeling left out, who's feeling so distraught about something that's happened. They're able to go into that app and access quick, immediate help and support to get them through the situation, to learn what to do to help me not feel this way anymore.
You actually think that, I mean, I don't know, I'm not convinced. I'm not going to be able to put this through. I think your design is stunningly beautiful.
Thank you.
And I think the work you've done is great. And I think some of the idea, and you know, maybe it could work. My only worry is that we are focusing on social impact, and I'm just a bit concerned on whether this is going to succeed.
Yeah.
And so for that, I'm just going to have to, unfortunately, you know.
No, I think there is potential in this, but there is a maybe if it will actually work and become big and so forth. It's a little bit uncertain, and I think the reason why I would also say, like you, that I'm not sure that this would be right, because it has that level of uncertainty. It can work, or maybe it doesn't become that big. But I hope you continue and do it.
Yes, I
will.
will.
You know, because there is an opportunity that it can work. And I agree to what you say, even though with the screen time and so forth, and if you get some kids into doing that before those things come, it's a lot of learning to get the kids to do that. This could work, because if it works like this, it can work digitally.
Yeah.
I love your cards. I must say, this is definitely something I'm going to take home. I'm going to show it to my son, you know, about 4-year-old. But to be honest with you, in the moment of crisis, I would prefer my son to turn to me, not to the app.
Yeah.
And because of that reason, I would say no to it, but the cards are incredible.
Thank you.
I personally like the idea. No matter how hard we try and keep our kids off digital devices, you know, especially when they're upset. For some reason, my kids always gravitate to, you know, it's calming. It's a calming influence moment. So obviously, the project's not going through the next round, but I'm very happy to discuss with you how we can discuss how we can take this further.
Thank you all so very much. I appreciate all your feedback. And
Thank you.
really love
Thank you
to
very
meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
You didn't pass to the next round, but you got lots of feedback, and one of the judges actually seems very interested. So a bit about your experience at Changemakers and about maybe this collaboration with one of the judges.
Well, it was fantastic to be out there and have the experience of chatting to the judges, and to receive that kind of feedback is really helpful, because it kind of helps you. Also, I'm a solopreneur, so being in my own space, I'm not used to having that kind of feedback and that collaboration, so it was really good for me to stand there. And either way, even though I didn't get through, I am still feeling confident that this does have legs, and that I'm going to continue to strive to help kids, because this is what it's all about. It's really to help kids learn these skills and to get this work into the world, whether it's through the cards or an app. But I really want to meet kids where they're at in a digital space.